r/ask Reddit. Redditors with those who talk in their sleep. What is the creepiest thing they've said? Steven. What? He's coming out of the faucet. What? Steven's coming out of the faucet. I talk in my sleep. My wife has told me many stories. The best one hands down has to be when she was pregnant. She woke up with really bad heartburn and nausea. She tried to wake me up and tell me she's not feeling well. She tells me I legit said, you know those feelings you are feeling, just turn them off, and fell back to sleep. I'm really lucky my wife knows I sleep talk and loves me. She doesn't hold anything I say like that against me, just teases me a lot. My boyfriend once cupped my crotch in his sleep and said, 2 out of 5 stars. Edit. Whoops, I clearly got carried away reading the other comments and forgot it was supposed to be something creepy. Regardless, thanks for the gold. Glad you all get a kick out of my crotch's low rating. And yes, I'm still with the bugger. Rate and review this location so others know what to expect. I come in to go to bed, lay down and I'm about to turn the bedside lamp off. Cue him turning over, eyes still shut, obviously still asleep. Don't turn the light off. I'm confused now, why? They need to see. Now I'm freaking the asterisk out wondering who is in our bedroom that I haven't noticed. Who needs to see? The bugs. Why do the bugs need to see? To read. This happened months ago and I still haven't let it go. I mean, it makes sense. You don't want to be responsible for undereducated bugs in your house, do you? My mother loves to still bring this story up. Happened back during my 8th grade year of school. One morning she walked in to see if I was awake. So she asked, "Are you awake?" To which I apparently said asterisk, "I don't know, is it meteors or while dead asleep?" I apparently shouted for my mum at the middle of the night, and when she came running apparently all I said was those pineapples. Those asterisk pineapples. I don't normally swear either, so I have no idea why I suddenly got p asterisk 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 ionate about a fruit. Woke up to go to the bathroom one night. As I move to get up my boyfriend goes, "Don't go out there." Thinking he's awake and joking with me, I go, "Oh yeah, why?" He sits upright, eyes wide open, and goes, "She's out there," and flopped back down asleep. I held it for the rest of the night. Lol, I'd have done the same thing. I talk in my sleep, and my girlfriend told me this story after we woke up. I had evidently turned toward her, shook her with my face, and yelled, "They took my goddamn arms, Johnny," before slumping back over and going back to sleep. Edit. Holy asterisk, I never thought dramatic sleep me would ever do anything to warrant such a reaction. Thank you. Also, thank you very much for the gold and silver, strangers. I'm not sure what's more terrifying than you're so sitting upright and saying they're here, only to collapse back into their deep slumber. Edit. Didn't expect this thread to blow up as it did. Thank you. Apparently your 21-year-old daughter knocking on your adjoining wall whispering, "Mama, I there bark." I was the 21-year-old and my mum threw an absolute fit at me and made me sleep in another room for a week. This reminds me of when I was a kid and I used to sleepwalk. Once I sleepwalked into my dad's room and just stood there at the foot of the bed. The floors are creaky, so he heard me enter the room anyway and woke up, but I just stood there dead silent for like several seconds. Eventually he asked my name. "What's wrong?" And I guess him speaking to me woke me up, because it was only then that I wasn't asleep in bed, and I was just as confused as he was. He sent me back to bed, and I stayed where I was supposed to for the rest of the night. It was disturbing, as he later put it. My fiance is super active while sleeping. It used to bother me, but now I'm used to it. One time I asked her to give me her pillow while she was sleeping and she said, "Okay," and then pulled it out from under her head and threw it at me. She slept the rest of the night without a pillow and was quite pissed when she woke without a pillow, and after I told her what she did. My so frequently moves around the pillow and the covers when she's asleep, often resulting in her not having a pillow and not letting me put one under her. The first time she did it, she called me a snake for stealing the pillows. I'm still not sure if she fully believes that it's not me. Apparently I'm the opposite. According to my so, while dead asleep, I reached over, yanked the pillow out from under her head, threw it off the bed, and continued snoring contentedly. Unrelated, but on another night, I apparently rolled over, put my face right near hers, and, as she describes it, snored right into her face. For an hour. Edit. Wow, my first silver. Thanks kind stranger. Edit 2. Fix the commas a bit. Also another silver. And my most upvoted comment ever. I'm glad you all enjoy my suffering. Final edit. A lot of people wondering what a scream snore is, like a lot. Posted as a reply a while ago, adding as an edit for ease of viewing. Scream snoring. The inhale is what you'd imagine. It sounds like a chainsaw. Followed by a huge, exasperated sigh mixed with a long grunt, while exorcising a demon. I talk in my sleep regularly. One instance comes to mind. My said she was going to the bathroom in the middle of the night. On her way back, I said it's following you, and went back to sleep. I think this is the scariest I've read on here. Imagine sleepily going back to bed while you hear it's following you. I would not sleep again that night. Edit. Apparently I can't spell again normally. I'm the sleep talker, but the best I've ever been told about was, no, none of them have heads. My husband sleep talks, and my favorite was when he told me to close a ticket. He was an ad manager, and I told him I didn't work for him. Then he yelled at me to get it done. I said you're a mean boss, and went back to sleep. I've got so many, and should write them down, but I'm so used to it by now. And I'm not the sleep talker, but I once woke myself and him up by yelling the power of Christ compels you. I had been having a very vivid nightmare about seeing a black entity floating in our bedroom by the bathroom door. In my dream, I woke my husband up, and we turned the lights on chasing it down the hallway, because we didn't want whatever it was to hurt our daughter. As we were chasing it away, I was yelling the power of Christ compels you, and I woke up screaming it. Thing is that I'm not particularly religious, and that's not really something I would say at all. It was so bizarre. I've only had a dream that realistic a couple times in my life. Not 100% a talking in her sleep story, but when my is stressed she has dreams about spiders crawling everywhere. One night I was reading, and she was asleep. She suddenly sat up and just stared at me. I asked her what's up. So, the spiders. Me, what spiders? So, there are spiders coming out of the poster. Me, there are no spiders. She stares at the poster. So, no, the spiders. Me, go back to sleep. Then she just collapsed back into her pillow back asleep. When she first sat up and stared at me, I thought this was suddenly a horror movie, and I was dead. My girlfriend will do this every so often, but this one time she was having a really bad nightmare and she just straight up screamed at the top of her lungs right into my face. I woke up with an adrenaline rush that is still my closest guess for what cocaine feels like. I woke her up by stroking her hair and whispering to her that it would be okay, and she thanked me the next morning. Sorry, that must have been terrifying in the moment, but I can't stop laughing trying to visualize this scenario, hahaha. I did this as a kid. My mom woke up and started screaming, and my dad also did the same. So it was all three of us screaming for a solid minute or two before they realized nothing was wrong, except they had somehow let a sleep screamer crash in their bed. Funny enough, it was my dad who told us to shut up and listen. He was the biggest coward out of the lot. My mom usually had the level head in distressing situations, though she still may have been a tad asleep. I was on business travel years ago in Europe with a coworker for several weeks. Over the weekends we'd travel to various tourist spots. One weekend we stayed at a chateau. It was pricey, so we shared a room that ended up being on the ground floor and overlooked the garden courtyard. She neglected to tell me she had night terrors. Middle of the night, pitch black. I'm in an unfamiliar environment, and I wake up to screaming that there's somebody in our room trying to get her. I have no idea where the light switch is, or the door, or anything. I had never been so scared in my life. At least not until this summer, when we were on vacation in Colorado with the windows open. and we were serenaded by wolves right outside. Waking up to that and thinking it was some kind of screaming and knowing my young son was on the other side of the house left me unable to sleep for hours. Edit. Shatter was 20 plus years ago. Colorado was last year with my family and not her. Not my so but still kinda funny, but very scary at the time. So little me had a nightmare and went to my parents' room to tell my mom and get a cuddle so I could go back to sleep. I knocked on the door and opens it very quietly so only my mom wakes and not my dad, since mom is a very light sleeper and dad a heavy one. I get in and at that moment dad jumps out of bed and shouts, "I do not want to see you here again." I fled up the stairs and cried and mom followed me and told me she didn't know what happened either. Dad says he doesn't remember it, but I sure do. Father with little kids here 3 AM. Kids kick me in the face on accident. I flip them over and spank them. My wife tells me about it the next day and I feel bad. I'm sure your dad felt bad too. Some people are just deep sleepers I guess. I remember waking up to water being splashed in my face. It turns out I was over the sink, splashing water in my own face after just having asterisk with a stranger sleeping next to me. How could I cheat on my so? So I slowly turn my head to see who I just hooked up with. It was my so. After that emotional roller coaster I'm instantly asleep again. My girlfriend, now wife, and I were sleeping in my bed in college. Due to not being able to control the temperature in my room, which was kept at a tropical 105 degrees despite it being a brutal winter, we always slept with a window open and my bedroom door cracked for circulation. I also lived on the ground floor apartment of a brownstone in Boston. In the dead middle of the night, she starts smacking me. GF. Babe. Babe. I startle awake. What? GF. Whispers, "There's someone standing in the doorway." Asterisk MUFFLEDWHIMPERS asterisk. Adrenaline starts pumping. I prepare to fight the intruder. I quickly scan the room for something to make an impromptu weapon out of. Finally my eyes adjust to the dark. I'm fully awake, and I see that no one is actually there. Me, no there isn't. You're sleeping. GF. Asterisk MUFFLEDLAUGHING asterisk. She had zero recollection of the entire incident the next morning. I had to recount to her how she almost made me asterisk my pants in the middle of the night. I find it hilarious that she laughed afterwards. I thought she was awake, but we were laying in bed last week and this is how it went. GF. I'm gonna asterisk myself. Me, what? No go to the bathroom. GF. Ugh. I'm gonna asterisk the bed. Me, why don't you go to the bathroom if you've got a asterisk? GF. What? That doesn't make any sense at all. I'm trying to make these trees grow. Just shut up. This is when I realized she was sleeping and started laughing hysterically, which made her angry. She didn't remember any of it the next morning. Not so much creepy as it is odd, but I overheard my wife accurately recite my social security number aloud whilst sleeping. When I told her about it the next morning she said I had to have been making that up, as she definitely does not know my social security number. I didn't believe her and made her swear to me and on our marriage that she wasn't lying, and she said that if someone was pointing a gun to my head and that he would pull the trigger unless she accurately recited my social security number, she'd tell me she loved me and that she'd remember me fondly once I died. It was the oddest thing. I think it's possible that she may have seen the numbers briefly at one point but doesn't consciously remember them. We supposedly dream with faces of people we've seen in our lives, even if they were random strangers we've passed by in the street and never given a second thought to. So maybe it's registered in her subconscious, but not her conscious memory? Well, not to mention your SSN is used for tons of things. She may have heard op on the phone and subconsciously remembered it. Our minds pick up more than we are conscious of, so it's entirely possible that she honestly has no clue. Honestly, my husband constantly forgets my SSN, but I wouldn't be remotely surprised if he said it in his sleep, because our brains are strange. My fiancé is Chinese and didn't have the best upbringing there. It is common for her to yell in a distressed tone in her sleep random Chinese phrases. Absolutely terrifying the first few times experiencing it. Now I just kind of cuddle with her a little bit harder when it happens. This happens with my GF. Except she yells out in Spanish, which is kind of odd considering Spanish is a second language for her. My girlfriend goes into Spanish when she's angry, even though it's her technically second language. She learned it as a kid, but English is a strong native language. It probably depends on mood for people to slip into another language automatically like that. My wife doesn't talk in her sleep, but I did wake up once to her sitting up, leaning over me, and staring at me paranormal activity style. It was terrifying, and she has no recollection of it. I woke up to my wife screaming the most horrifying blood-curdling scream I'd ever heard. Something made her wake up, and in the faint moonlight that was seeping in through a gap in the curtains, stood a small figure less than a foot from her face. It was our son wanting a drink, but he had decided to stand next to her head like a mannequin until noticed. Edit. Fixed a typo. Edit 2. Thanks for the silver. Edit 3. And now gold. My wife is glad her terror has entertained so many. This is honestly the thing that makes me the most anxious about having kids. I hate being scared, and I'm very easy to scare. A compilation. All of these start with her shaking me awake. Huh. SHHHH. There on the roof me. Who? Huh. ZZZZZZZZ. Huh. Where is he going to sleep? Me. Who? Huh. The man whose hair points me. What? Huh. ZZZZZZZZ. Huh. I see it over there by the stairs me. Silent eating self her. ZZZZZZZZ. Huh. Do you see her? Me. Sigh who? Huh. The lady in the corner me. There's nobody there her. Her eyes me. There's nobody there her. I hope she goes away ZZZZZZZZ me. Doesn't sleep. She never remembers saying this stuff. I honestly started keeping track of the weirder things / conversations we've had that she remembers nothing of. November 25th. She wakes up. So fish sticks? Clear and loud. Me fish sticks? What do you mean? So are you making fish sticks? Me yes I'm making fish sticks. So okay goes back to sleep. Sleeping wife. Why is the dog barking? Me. We don't have a dog. Wife. Yes we do. And he's in the kitchen barking. Me. Okay. Wife. Go see why he's barking. Me. After a little more argument about whether or not we have a dog, walks to kitchen and back to bedroom. Wife. Where did you go? Me. I went to the kitchen to check on the dog. Wife. But we don't have a dog. I posted this in a similar thread months ago but it's relevant. Same house, same bedroom, different women, 5 years apart. First woman, we are asleep in bed, and she takes this huge, deep breath that wakes me up. Then, she says they are here now, and want to speak to you. I'm going to let them use me. So, of course, I wake her up violently like WTF. All she can tell me is that she saw several shadowy people in her dream who told her that they had a message for me but needed her to talk to me. Okay. Second woman, we are asleep together and the same thing happens. Deep long breath that wakes me up except this time she screams there are people in this room with us. I get her calmed down by assuring her that we were alone. She never sleeps over again. I sell the house. Lol. Honestly you should have brought back first girl and heard what they had to say. I'm always curious why friendly ghosts don't exist. I was rearranging my pillow nest in the middle of the night and he must have felt threatened. Whoa 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 no whoa put those down whoa whoa please no. Some other delightful experiences. By fortuitous design we are asleep with our faces 1 centimeter apart. Him barks loudly like an aggressive ferocious dog. Me wake up completely due to mini heart attack and scream. Him whines softly like a chastised dog. He sits up suddenly in bed laughing like a maniac. Me, it's okay, go back to sleep. Him, me, falling back asleep. Him, no you go back to sleep. Me, just lie down. Him, goes from a 90-degree angle to a 45-degree angle and his sleeping self pretends to be asleep, and in doing so achieves true meta status. Me, I know you're not lying down properly. Him, yes I am. Me, K whatever. I'm the sleep talker. My ex-wife said I would sit up just about every night, with my eyes open, tell her I love her, and then lay back down and fall asleep. When I visited my girlfriend in another country, we were in an hotel. And apparently I told her I loved her in my sleep, and would give a kiss on her back. That every night. It's so weird, because I don't remember any of that. That reminds me of when my husband used to roll over in his sleep and smack me with his hand. He would always wrap me up in a big hug, like he was trying to comfort me, and apologize for hitting me. Kind of like when I kick my cat, when she walks under my feet. I always pick her up and start petting her and making sure she's okay. I'm pretty sure she steps under my feet on purpose now. I've told this on here before, but my husband is out of control with his sleep talking. You almost can't call it sleep talking, because you would swear this mf knows exactly what he's doing. It isn't just talking. He gets up out of bed, will literally be walking around the house doing things, like he's totally aware. Could hold a full conversation with you. It takes a minute to realize whether he's awake or not. He's so sure of himself. So probably the scariest thing was one night we are knocked out. It has to be like 3 AM, and his big asterisk bolts out of bed like I've never seen in my life, waking me up and frantically yelling, we have to go now. We have to get out of here. Follow me. Hurry up. I literally go into full panic mode and start trying to grab things and get my dogs, all while trying to ask him WTF is going on. But he's so serious about this that I just trust that there must be something bad happening. Within a minute or so I noticed that as frantic as he was walking around, he wasn't really doing anything, just kind of going in circles. At that point it clicked that he wasn't really awake. I had been woken up from a dead sleep too obviously, so I started saying his name over and over and telling him it was okay, and he kind of just snapped out of it and was like, oh, sorry about that. Definitely was freaked TF out for a minute there though. I remember one night I was on a school trip. We were visiting a shipyard in the 5th or 6th grade. We were all sleeping in bunks at the prow bow of the ship, stacked 3 high. One of the kids was known for having night terrors, as they had happened at other sleepovers and such out of school. I'm a notorious insomniac, so naturally I was up with another bunkmate of mine, and we were playing cards. This kid was on the 3rd bunk up and all of a sudden leaped off. These bunks are 3 high, you have a climb down. This kid jumps down like 8 feet, lands like a cat and bolts for the bathroom. One of the teachers woke up and saw this and got up to make sure he was okay. The kid was dead asleep the whole time, and once properly awakened apologized and climbed back into bed. Was wild to see. My ex used to talk in his sleep all the time. I would write down what he said or start talking to him to have whole conversations with him in his sleep. In the morning, I would put them as statuses on Facebook because I thought it was hilarious. The one that scared the asterisk out of me though was when I was in the other room with my headphones on, around 2 AM. I was playing a game with people, and, out of nowhere, I heard my ex loudly, robotically go, ha, ha ha, 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 ha. It was like someone broke his laugh. I walked in there to see what was happening, but he was asleep again and silent. Edit to add. It's not a laugh from League. At least, not that I know. He only ever played 3 video games total, Pokemon, WoW, and Borderlands. I was the gamer in the family, but I never touched League. Not my with me so, but while I was on a camping trip with a bunch of friends, me being tired, went to sleep around midnight, while they would go on and talk for a bit in the outer tent. After about an hour, when I'd gone to sleep, they zip the tent open, which makes quite a lot of noise, and without actually waking up I sit up 90 degrees, tell them in the clearest voice, what did I say? Keep it quiet asterisk idiots, and laid down again. The morning after was a pretty weird one. They didn't know I talked in my sleep. Not a so, but I share a room with my brother, who has struggled with night terrors since he was a little kid. One night I woke up to him screaming like he was being flayed alive. You know, the high-pitched, voice cracking screaming, and between screams he was saying it's touching me. Something is touching me, along with a bunch of other garbled speech. It took about a minute for him to wake up. After that I was awake all night long. Honestly, hearing him scream with that much terror was more scary than what he was saying. When I first woke up, I thought there was an intruder in our room. We're lucky the police weren't called, lol. Thank you so much for watching the entire video. I would be so grateful if you could like this video and subscribe to the channel. New videos every day.